It looks like Team Instone is back to their old tricks. Another shakeup and possibly another driver on their way off the grid. Let's unpack it next. Hop in, buckle up, and get ready to lay it on the line. This is Not Speeding, Just Qualifying, a podcast that's just as fast as it sounds. What's up, family? I'm David Lawrence. Welcome to an all-new episode of the Not Speeding, Just Qualifying podcast. I appreciate you for joining me today. Before I get started, make sure your qualifying setup is all dialed in. Hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel or search Not Speeding, Just Qualifying in the podcast section of the YouTube Music app to subscribe today. Let's get you up to speed with our in-lap segment. Let's go straight into Sector 1, NASCAR at Texas Motor Speedway for a triple header weekend. Friday night was once again Heim time. Corey Heim, his third win of the season in the Speedy Cash 250. Saturday saw Kyle Larson, subbing for Connor Zilic, sidelined due to injury, make overtime work to his advantage, claiming the win in the Andes Frozen Custard 300 for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. And finally on Sunday, the champ strikes. Joey Logano wins the Worth 400, becoming the 7th different winner in Cup this season. The Xfinity Series gets a couple of weekends off to reset their batteries. Cup and trucks head to the heartland of Kansas this weekend. In Sector 2, let's track down the Monster Energy AMA Supercross Championship battle. Chase Sexton stepped up to the plate in Denver with a much-needed win Saturday night, his 6th of the season, to keep him alive in the championship hunt. Unfortunately for Chase, Cooper Webb is doing all he needs to do, and that is keep Chase right in his sights. Cooper finished second Saturday and heads into the season finale in Salt Lake City with a 9-point lead over Sexton. Cooper needs a 6th place finish in the main to clinch his 3rd Supercross title. See how it all plays out Saturday night. Finally, Sector 3 stands for 3 wins. First, Alex Palou's dominance of the 2025 NTT Indycar Series continued Sunday as he absolutely annihilated the field in the Children's of Alabama Indy Grand Prix at Barber Motorsports Park. His 3rd win in 4 races to kick off the season, and oh, by the way, that one race he didn't win was a 2nd. Palou has all the momentum going to the month of May as it kicks in high gear with Saturday's Indy Grand Prix. Over in Formula One, Oscar Piastri won his 3rd straight win, his 4th of the season Sunday in the Miami Grand Prix. Both he and teammate Lando Norris had thrilling duels with Max Verstappen. Both eventually prevailed as the McLarens went on to go 1-2. Verstappen ended up 4th behind George Russell's Mercedes. Piastri looks to keep his winning ways going with the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix in Imola on May 18th, next on the schedule. That completes our in-lap racing segment recap. Now let's get on to our hot lap, and let's stay in the world of Formula One today. Originally, I was going to talk about Porsche's dominating start to the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship and if anyone could stop them. I was also going to go further into that dominance and talk about how Porsche Penske Motorsport is starting to make this era of GTP look like the mid-80s version of GTP when Porsche dominated everything in sight then. But I gotta take a pivot today after the big news we just heard. And if you were paying any attention to my teaser at the opening of the show, it teased up exactly where we're headed. About an hour before I hit record for this podcast, Alpine announced Oliver Oakes had stepped down as team principal. Oakes was only in the position 9 months and oversaw just 16 races for the team. With Oakes resigning, Flavio Briatore, one of the most recognizable and polarizing figures in Formula One history, will be performing team principal duties for the foreseeable future in addition to his title as team executive advisor of Alpine. On the surface, this may not seem like much to the casual fan, but if you're a diehard Formula One fan that follows the sport intensely, this could be the writing on the wall that signals the end for one of the rookies on the grid. Australian Jack Doohan is the son of Mick Doohan, former MotoGP world champion. Safe to say, racing's been in Jack's blood since birth. Jack rose up through the feeder formula ranks, first a member of the Red Bull Junior Driver Development Program from 2017 to 2021, and then as an Alpine Academy driver since 2022. When Alpine announced the release of Esteban Ocon in June 2024, eyes began looking to Doohan as a possible replacement for the seat and to finally make his step to Formula One. That was announced in August, shortly after Brit Oliver Oakes was installed as team principal. Jack didn't have to wait long to get his first crack of Formula One in true anger. Ocon left the team before the season finale in Abu Dhabi in December, giving Doohan his Grand Prix debut, which was a quiet affair to say the least, qualifying last and finished 15th out of 17 classified. As Doohan was preparing for his full rookie Formula One season, his team decided to throw him a curveball. In January, Alpine signed Argentina's Franco Colapinto to their test and reserve driver role. Immediately, the rumor mill began cranking. Colapinto, who showed flashes of brilliance at Williams last year after relieving axed American driver Logan Sargent, was seen as a star and a hot commodity with other teams in the paddock wanting his signature. But Colapinto's hot starts quickly cooled and so did his hype. Still, Alpine was impressed with him and worked to get him out of his Williams contract. But why get out of a contract with a team on the rise producing a pretty quick car if the first quarter of 2025 is anything to go by? Simple. There must be an opportunity in the cards. Even before the paddock touched down in Melbourne in March, it was as if Jack was on a trial period, a ticking time bomb, and it looks like those rumors are on the verge of becoming reality. With that being said, how has Doohan performed so far? Well, if we're being honest, not world-stopping great. He crashed out of his home Grand Prix on lap 1 in the rain to start the season. He crashed heavily in practice at Suzuka and retired after contact with Liam Lawson on lap 1 in Miami this past weekend. Sandwiched in between his 2 lap 1 exits, 4 underwhelming non-points finishes, with 13th in China the best he could do, and even that was after 3 disqualifications above him, one of them being his teammate. Oakes has been patient and complimentary of Doohan, saying that he gives good feedback, and the more opportunities he gets, the more his pace will improve. And there were signs of this in Miami as he outqualified his experienced Grand Prix winning teammate Pierre Gasly for the first time. But with news breaking today that arguably his biggest champion is now out the door at his team, so could his hopes and dreams of finishing out the season. Speculation began mounting Monday morning as journalists in the F1 paddock were flying out of Miami. Reports began swirling Colapinto could be in the second Alpine seat as soon as the next round at Imola. These reports were not helped by the fact that Oliver Oakes did not even hold a post-race briefing with the press Sunday evening, which is customary for team principals to do, the team citing travel issues with Oakes' schedule. And with today's news, this all makes sense. Now, there are 2 sides to every coin, and I'm going to look into both of them. On one side, Jack Doohan looks to be the next casualty of modern-day Formula One, where you have to be ready to step in and perform otherworldly almost immediately. Gone are the days where drivers are given 1, 2, even 3 years to develop their talents and then given the freedom to progress. Testing is minimal, and when you can test, you can only test older vehicles. And that, to me, is so pointless with the sole exception of just gaining seat time and familiarity with electronics. Frankly, I feel it's not even worth using the resources. I will continue to stand on this soapbox as I believe this is the same thing that undid Logan Sargent at Williams. Gone are the days of Nigel Mansell and Mika Hakkinen where they were given years to develop and perform before they were finally given their shot at glory in the right machinery. So much for patience. This just isn't that type of Formula One anymore, especially with money the name of the game and teams needing to perform to keep investors happy and to have money pumping in to maintain operations. Now, since I mentioned Logan, let's flip the coin and entertain this argument of whether Jack Doohan belonged on the grid to begin with at all. My answer in both opinions is yes. Both Logan Sargent and Jack Doohan both deserve places in Formula One. But I will also go to the facts as well. Like Sargent, Doohan never won a feeder series championship en route to Formula One. Yes, they both performed well enough to earn super license points through their Formula 2 campaigns, but you can't truly say neither man was anyone's first option. And without Jack's last name, one can make the argument his performances alone on the road to Formula One, while solid and promising, were not earth-shattering and warranted a spot in the sport. As previously mentioned, Doohan finished second in 3 feeder series championships, and in his last Formula 2 campaign in 2023, he finished third. It's worth noting the 2 men who finished ahead of him in that season, Teo Porcher and Frederick Vesti, are yet to make the Formula One grid themselves, despite being promising reserve and development drivers for other Formula One teams. I say all that to say, some wondered when Doohan got the call-up in 2024, the first thought was why, especially since, as we mentioned, Formula One in 2025, with so few seats compared to the past, this isn't for project drivers. Speaking of project, there's a third angle I want to present to you. Doohan's promotion to Alpine could be seen by some as forced due to recent events. Come back with me to 2021 when the Renault Alpine Driver Academy had another young Australian by the name of Oscar Piastri in their program. Piastri won the Formula 3 championship as a rookie the year prior and then followed it up with the Formula 2 title also in his rookie season. But with Fernando Alonso and Esteban Ocon signed for 2022, Oscar had to sit the season out and serve as test and reserve driver for the team. Alpine desired to groom Piastri for the team with a 2025 race seat after 2 years of development at Williams. Piastri's manager, former Grand Prix winner Mark Webber, scoffed at the notion. Yes, Williams may be a nice platform in 2025, but in 2022 that was a very different story. During that same 2022 season, Piastri was listed as a McLaren reserve, and that's what really got the ball rolling. With Zach Brown trying to find out how to handle the struggling Daniel Ricciardo, McLaren saw Piastri's discontent with Alpine and jumped at the opportunity to swap one Aussie for another. McLaren signed Piastri in July 2022 and announced him as a race driver that September after Daniel Ricciardo's contract matter was finally settled. Oscar has not looked back since, and seeing how he's doing so far in 2025, safe to say he has no regrets. The same cannot be said for Alpine in botching a generational talent. Furthermore, seeing how Alpine has been lackluster at promoting academy drivers to F1, as since 2016 only 2 drivers, and we're not including Piastri in that number, have made it to Formula One, neither have raced for Alpine or Renault customer. Doohan is the first from the academy to race for the team since Romain Grosjean raced during the team's Lotus days in the mid-2010s. After letting a talent like Piastri go by the wayside, was Doohan signing away for Alpine to save public face with the academy for future signees, saying, hey, we can and do promote our drivers when given the chance? In closing, yes, I feel for Jack if this is the end for him. He's worked all his life to get to this point, following his passion, now getting to live his dream, and only for that dream to literally come crashing down on him in the way of rumor mills and constant questioning about your job. And it looks like now the rug is about to be yanked from under him. Yes, it is unfair, but yes, this is life. Regardless of what happens, I will say this. Jack Doohan will have an excellent racing career in other categories should he choose to pursue other disciplines. Whether we like it or not, this is how Formula One operates in 2025. You gotta be in the right place at the right time. And if one aspect doesn't click, it's the end. It's all over. So I'm going to be like you all. I'm just going to watch and see how the coming days play out. Let's hope Jack gets at least one more opportunity. Last but not least, here is today's Outlap, a preview of the upcoming Motorsports weekend, and if you're here in the US, here's where you can watch everybody. The Supercross Championship is at Symonds Plains Raceway in Tasmania. You can watch with subscription to SuperView, the series' official streaming service outside of Australia and New Zealand. The GT World Challenge Asia is in Mandalika, Indonesia for rounds 3 and 4 of the championship. You can stream all the action on the GT World YouTube channel. Round 3 of the FIA World Endurance Championship, the 6 hours of Spa. Here in the US, you can watch the first and final hours live on Motor Trend Network. You can stream the entire race live on Max or FIAWEC.tv. MotoGP is at Le Mans for the French Grand Prix. Watch the Premier Class live Sunday on FS1. You can also subscribe to MotoGP Video Pass if you want to catch all the practice, qualifying, and other action from MotoGP in France. Monster Energy AMA Supercross will crown its champion Saturday night in Salt Lake City. Catch all the action live on Peacock and USA Network. The IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship is at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. Catch the action live Sunday on NBC and Peacock. The month of May kicks into high gear with the NTT Indycar Series, the Sontio Indy Grand Prix on the Indy Road Course. Catch all the action live Saturday on Fox. And last but not least, NASCAR is at Kansas Speedway. The trucks will be Saturday night. Cup racing on Sunday. Catch all the action on FS1. All right, family, that is our show for this week. Thank you all so much for tuning in and listening today. Are you listening and have a topic or series you want us to cover on the show? Drop a comment on any of our episodes and let us know. You can also reach out by email at dalmotorsports@gmail.com. Again, that's dalmotorsports@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you all. We also want you to connect with us on social media. We're on Blue Sky, X, Instagram, and TikTok, all at the same handle, at NSJQ Podcast. Subscribe to our show so you don't miss whenever we drop new content for the pod. Also, like and share our stuff. The more you like and share, the more YouTube will start recommending our episodes to others. Lastly, if you want to follow me on my personal social media handles, links to those will be in the description box to this episode. I'll talk to you next time for another episode of the Not Speeding, Just Qualifying podcast. Until then, I'm David Lawrence. And remember, you're not living life to the fullest until you're going flat out. So long, everyone.